معنا في الاستديو كينغسلي أفاني وهو رئيس التنفيذي
Yeah, sure. So Bitcoin treasury companies are companies that allocate a significant portion of their reserves to Bitcoin as a primary asset. And this is often to provide investors with indirect exposure to Bitcoin price.
لكن كينغسلي، العوامل التي تشجع الشركات إلى هذا الاتجاه في عملية التحوط أيضا بالعملات المشفرة والاعتماد عليها أيضا فيها بشكل فعلي، كيف تعطي انعكاس فعليا لواقع سوق العملات المشفرة؟
Yes, Bitcoin has some benefits as a treasury asset. Firstly, it's a hedge against inflation. Bitcoin has been deflationary. There's less Bitcoin mined every year. If you look at US CPI inflation, it's about 4% year on year. So your dollar is decreasing in purchasing power by about 4% every year, whereas Bitcoin is increasing over time. Secondly, Bitcoin has been a store of value. So it's been increasing in value over time. Finally, Bitcoin is going up in value over time. We've seen an IRR of about 60% year on year over the past 5 years and 80% IRR over the last 10 years.
اليوم كينغسلي معظم الشركات التي بدأت تأخذ البيتكوين على محمل الجد في التاجري لديها هي شركات إما تعمل في التكنولوجيا إما تعمل في عالم الكريبتو التعدين، ولكن هل بدأنا نشهد أكثر شركات مين ستريم تلجأ إلى البيتكوين كتراجي؟ اليوم أنت تدرس اليوم السوق وخصوصا هنا في المنطقة تظهر آه، أي حماس ربما للشركات أن يكون لديها هذا الأصل.
Definitely. So the US has paved the way. You have a strategy, as you mentioned before. They own about 3% of the total Bitcoin supply. Their market cap is about 100 billion, and they've had about a 30% IRR year to date. Also have Meta Planet in Japan, market cap of $4 billion, and they've appreciated about 200-300% year to date. They were the best performing stock last year. In the region, we're also seeing companies adopt Bitcoin treasury strategies. You saw recently Phoenix Group, their market cap's around $2.5 billion or 9 billion AED, and they have announced a Bitcoin treasury strategy. So we're starting to see more companies in the region adopt Bitcoin as a treasury asset, not just the US, not just Europe and Asia, but also the GCC.
لكن على الرغم من الارتفاعات اللافتة وقمم تاريخية جديدة حققتها هذه العملات، كيف يمكن أن ننظر اليوم للتحديات والمخاطر من التقلبات؟ كيف تتحوط الشركات؟ ما هي الحلول التي تضعها في مواجهة هذا التغير؟
Bitcoin is definitely a volatile asset and it's a long-term hold. You don't want to be, day trading it. It's a long-term investment that you can think of on a 5 to 10 year horizon. So as a Bitcoin treasury company, though, you need to have great treasury management. You need to be buying low and hedging at the top. So you don't want to be over levered in a down market. So Bitcoin treasury companies should have strong treasury management to make sure that they have long-term Bitcoin that they're accumulating in an efficient way.
يعني المطلوب اليوم للتحوط كما نشهد مثل الأصول الأخرى اليوم من أسهم وسندات، اليوم هذه كل الأدوات.
They are, yeah. There is an options market for Bitcoin, and we've seen increasingly Bitcoin treasury companies leverage options for hedging. For instance, the Planet has achieved about a 200% annual yield just from their hedging strategy. Bitcoin treasury companies can also generate yield off their hedging strategies, and we're starting to see this as a way for investors to get yield and dividends off of their investments.
لكن أيضا لو قيمنا المنطقة يعني في الشرق الأوسط ومدى الإقبال تحديدا في الخليج، يعني كيف يمكن أن نرى إقبال الشركات اليوم الخليجية على هذا النوع من التحوط وأيضا الاعتماد بالنسبة للعملات المشفرة والبيتكوين تحديدا كأصل في التحوط من هذه المخاطر؟
I think there's great demand in the region for Bitcoin type products. There's not a lot of products that exist currently. But if you see the GCC as a region, B, for instance, has over $2 trillion of sovereign wealth funds. You have ADIA, Mubadala, ADQ, ICD. So there are a lot of long-term investors in the region that invest in long-term bets like Bitcoin. You also have a large high net worth population. There's about 200,000 high net worths in the UAE. This is increasing by 5% year on year. And you also have a strong ecosystem of crypto players. You have Binance, OKX, Bybit, Crypto.com, BitOasis that are really building a strong crypto ecosystem in the region. And finally, you have strong regulatory framework to protect investors like VARA, who has a strong crypto regulatory framework to allow compliant crypto in the region. So we are seeing demand from high net worth investors, and the region is ripe for Bitcoin treasury companies.
وكينغسلي أدفاني رئيس تنفيذي ومؤسس شركة Allocation.
Thank you.